right, welcome to Froning Friends. We have the usual Jim. Ellie will be here in a second. She went to get a book. And we have a special guest. Can you tell me your name?
Lakeland.
Lakeland what?
Lakeland Froning my daddy.
Lakeland Froning my daddy.
Yeah, she knows you know.
What's your brother's name?
Shy.
What's your sister's name?
Ballot.
What's your mommy's name?
Mommy.
That's right. How old are you going to be?
7.
Not 7. Count. How many is this? How many do I have here? Count my fingers. 1. Count. 4. You're going to be 4. What's your favorite sport? Do you like baseball or football, hockey or basketball or soccer? You're done? You had enough?
Oh.
Well, I guess
like that's a wrap.
That's enough. Are you done? Okay, you done?
Oh.
You're all
want to
done.
be in a podcast.
That's the first guest we've had decide to leave. Trey, you may want to take the memory cards out of this before, or she'll lose them. Ellie will be here in a second with her question book.
Book of questions.
Book of questions.
Have we actually started? We're
starting.
Oh.
We filmed. But no, Ellie's here now. We can actually talk about stuff because I don't really know.
Oh, pizza.
We started, Ellie, so you're in.
You're in. Welcome.
What do we have in front of us?
Well,
This is-
first things first. I'm sorry, I'm panting.
Yeah, he did breathe deeply twice there.
I mean, you heard the story last week. So we went to see Dr. Goddard to get some tests done last week.
I didn't get to go, but yes, I heard the story.
Well, can you tell them about like the pre part of it?
The pre part of it.
Of the fasting and overnight peeing.
You had to, your first urine sample was from the morning, and so you have to actually keep your first pee in the morning and put it on ice and take it. We had to drive it an hour and a half, so.
Oh, wow.
So initially I wasn't quite sure, and this is all to do like, it's basically looking at the stuff in your gut, right?
Okay. You're doing gut biome and...
Yeah.
And I was also doing a blood or a metal toxicity test.
Yeah.
Okay.
So... the night before, I wasn't sure if I was actually going to do it, but I was like, that was traumatized. So I'm like, oh my gosh, just hold your pee just in case.
Right.
So nothing like being a guest in people's house. And I walked downstairs and I'm like, I go, Rich, I really have to pee. And he's like, well, what did you didn't even say, you were like, and I was like,
yeah.
Oh, as he's sitting there packing a lunchbox and has 2 large containers, silver containers.
I didn't know if it was like I had to wait till 6 o'clock for my pee, because I pee sometimes 2 times in the middle of the night. So it's like, which one am I taking? So the ones that were from like 3 in the morning, or like 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock, I just put in one cup.
Yeah.
And then I took my real morning one and put it in a smaller cup because I was going to fill up that cup with a third piss. So.
Right.
So he has 2 giant cups of pee. I grab a water bottle. I empty it out and pee into a water bottle. And now we're icing our pee and getting ready for this road trip. And there's nothing stranger than walking out of someone's house with bags of pee.
Yeah,
it's
carrying
disgusting.
your urine around.
So
in Lakeland's lunchbox.
A flower lunchbox. It was pretty nice.
Dr. Goddard's like, thank you.
No, he didn't care. I'm sure he's used to it.
Right.
I have a really funny picture of Rich walking in the office, and he has pee in both hands, and there's the really nice lady in the front engaging and talking to him, and he's like, it has 2 buckets of pee in his hands.
Both cans of pee.
I mean, what you do for your health and your gut. So anyway,
They were in Yeti tumblers, too, to keep it cold.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, yeah. It's going to work.
I thought they were in water bottles in the tumblers.
No, you should just don't know which one you're going to use.
Don't use Yeti tumblers at Rich's house.
They soaked.
Oh, dear.
They're fine.
In lieu of the gut conversation, I tried to do some research on the gut.
Is this going to make me poop?
I don't know. Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe if you're sensitive to this. But anyway, this is basically a little gut cocktail. So this is organic vanilla yogurt, kombucha, and blueberries.
Oh, that's kombucha I'm smelling.
So try it. Take a bite of it. Come on. You got to try it. This is good for your gut. Your microbiomes will thank you.
We're supposed to mix it up?
I mean, you do you. However you want to get it done.
I've never had kombucha.
I never had kombucha until we were in Texas.
Oh, don't smell it.
No, I did smell it.
Oh, yeah, that smell is strong. But, man, my
terrible.
microbiomes are feeling better already.
When you got sick in Texas, one of the ladies brought me kombucha, and I didn't get as sick as everybody else, and I'd never had it before.
Did you try it yet?
Oh no.
Here's
I
the
don't
deal.
know about this.
Oh, don't make that sound.
It's not going to be good.
That's
It's
pretty
great.
disgusting.
It's not disgusting. Don't turn the world. First things first. Don't you want to know what a microbiome is?
Let me mix it up.
Silver, do you know what a microbiome is?
It's a little microorganism running around in my gut.
Wow, that's actually pretty close. Community of trillions of bacteria and other organisms living in and on us, most of which are in the gut.
Yeah.
So do you know why they're important?
Well, it's like the culture in there, the homeostasis, the status of my gut. I don't know. I'm not saying all the words right, but I think the idea is I'm not
You want a massive diversity is the idea.
Okay.
So the reason that we need this diversity is
I
because
believe diversity was an old wooden ship used in the Civil War era. Movie? Nobody?
I've heard it. I don't remember what it's from.
Making that up.
Anchorman.
Yeah.
I believe diversity was an old wooden ship.
This
Well-
tastes like a word that I can't say on this family
Well, you
podcast.
love it, and you're going to have it every day. You're going to crave it. So what that diversity does is it aids in digestion, the immune system, protecting us from pathogens, and regulating metabolism. So,
Super important.
Yeah. And there's one, and I feel like this will make the fitness world go nuts. There's one in your gut, and I'm going to butcher
That is
it because I'm not a
nasty.
doctor. Oh, that's why I even started this.
Are you really going to eat the whole thing?
Yes. It's good for you.
No. It tastes terrible. No.
So.
What'd you put blueberries in there for? Just to kind of like sort of trick you?
No, the blueberries are good for you. So with the whole like gut thing and the microbiomes, the people, everyone's losing their mind about it. So you know this person started this way to check it. That
I gotta go to the bathroom.
You do not. What do you think you have to send in?
Poop.
You have to swab your TP and send it in to get this test back. But, this is going to make the fitness world go
Better
nuts.
than pooping in a cup.
Ew, that would be so
Swab.
gross. I'd much rather swab.
Yeah,
But girls
swab.
don't poop, so man, this is an issue.
Oh.
But anyway, so there's this microbiome in your gut called Akkermansia that loves carbohydrates, for instance. So it eats all the carbs. So if you don't have that, then whatever. I feel like fitness people will lose their mind. And it loves to eat. Like you can't take anything to get that. Like you have to get it from, I guess, foods in the diversity in your stomach. And for instance, like if you're having all these issues with gut stuff and you feel like you don't metabolize carbs well or whatever, you need to take inulin, whatever that is.
Okay.
Insulin?
Not insulin.
Inulin.
Inulin. And you can get that from like a health food store. But that's really important. And obviously that would be massively important to athletes. You need that A word.
Aminulin?
And then you need now I forgot the word.
Anemone?
Anemone? Inulin. Anyway. So that's the whole deal about gut health.
This was disgusting.
I think it's a kombucha berry parfait.
I've known people who were traveling and ate something kind of outside of what's normal here at home and ruined their gut health and then had all kinds of problems and trying to reset it, get it back.
The end result is fecal transplant is the only thing so far to
we discussed
completely.
that.
I ain't transplanting any of my fecal anywhere.
You could sell your fecal.
I'm not selling my fecal.
Don't want to talk about fecal.
I don't even like that word.
Fecal. You want to? So speaking of all these crazy tests, you did the. You want to tell us about the 23andMe thing? You've been spitting in vials and doing all sorts of crazy
Carrying
stuff.
urine around, spitting in
Carrying urine.
vials.
That was
Well, the one was an adrenal test, and that was you could spit 4 times throughout the day, and it was 3 milliliters, which is
that's a lot of
a
spit.
lot of spit. I think it was milliliters. I don't know. It was a lot of spit. It took me at least 10 or 15 minutes to spit every
really?
time. Yeah, to get enough.
Wow.
So I did that one. No, I did the 23andMe.
What'd you learn? Did you learn? I mean,
I
apparently
did the
that's a big
ancestry
thing now.
one and the 23andMe, just to kind of.
You think that stuff's legit?
I don't know. They
think-
were both pretty close.
Were they?
And the deal is it's supposed to predate, like written history. So I have like on my mom's side, my grandfather is like his 3rd great grandfather was directly from Ireland. Then his mom's family was from Germany. My mom's family was from Germany. My dad's family's from Germany. My dad's mom's family had some German, but also some Welsh, English,
Right.
Irish. And so it came back, and it was like both of them were above 40% English Irish is what it said. On the ancestry, it said it doesn't really break it down, those two. On the or on the 23andMe, it broke it down and said I was more Irish than I am English. And then I want to say
you were German too?
I am German. I have
Right.
but I thought I was a lot more. I thought, with all that
Right.
German heritage, I thought I would be, like 90% German, but turns out I'm like 27% Eastern European.
I wonder how they give it the percentages.
I don't know if it's like, honestly, I don't know. I don't have the.
How do they assign all that?
What are you, Silver? Based on not 23andMe, based on your parents telling you.
So Swiss German. I tried to say that quickly.
Swish. Silver
Irish.
is swish.
Yes. Sorry. And then Native American.
That's awesome.
Those are the three things that I know for sure.
And you have your card, right? That's really cool.
We are, we're on the Dawes Rolls and a part of the Cherokee Nation, and that's kind of all a part of our history.
That's
so
really
this is
cool.
the report I have. It says 45% British Irish, but it says Ireland. So most of it, I guess, saying mostly Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
French and German, Germany. So I guess those, whatever, chromosomes might be this very close, but it's saying you're leaning more towards the Irish side than the German side. 2.1% Scandinavian.
Ooh.
0.1% Sardinian. 17% broadly Northwestern European. Okay.
Broadly.
You're broadly.
1.4% broadly Southern European. Broadly European 0.7 and Sub-Saharan African 0.4.
Wow. I was going to
Wow.
ask what the red dot was.
Wow.
Cool.
That is kind of cool.
We need to do that. But do you have to spit 8,000 milliliters for that one? Or is that just
that one was
Are
just
you worried
one
about where your DNA is now? Maybe they're out there trying to
clone
you now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because you gave your DNA to somebody.
I was like, I don't know where my DNA
Here
is.
comes Mitch Broning. I knew it was going to happen.
I'm trying to see if I have the ancestry one.
Like
That's pretty cool.
some kid 20 years is going to show up and say, you're my dad. And you're like, what are you talking about? Well, you spit in that cup thing, and then they
cloned you.
They cloned you, and
I am you.
you are his father, and he can prove it because he's got some sort of computer printout.
That wouldn't be good.
Is that a thing, or am I just making that
By
up?
then it would be laser beams, though. Here's my laser hologram printout. It's not going to be here's my piece of paper.
That's a good idea for a movie, though.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
With
See
lots
what
of
happens.
holograms. I'm into holograms.
Thousands of little Fronings running around all over the place.
Wow, the world would be a more athletic place.
Wow. Be something.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be a good thing.
Be a little grumpy, too.
Yeah,
a little grumpy
little
athletic
overly
place.
competitive at times.
Grumpy.
Paper, rock, scissors will be crazy.
Real funny.
Okay, I have another challenge for you. You accepted the first challenge, which was gut health. I'm not done with mine. I'm working on it.
I'm
You ready?
scared.
I'm done with mine.
This is serious. No. I believe in you. Anyway, and the cup says get your fruit on.
I take something for gut health, by the way.
What do you take?
A little packet from a company called On It,
Oh, okay, cool.
and it's all about gut
I
health.
wonder what kind of probiotics are in it. We'll have to look it up. We'll just see if
I
you're
have-
taking the car. Well,
You
no,
know what
I
I
don't
take
think
for
that.
gut health? Steak.
Oh my gosh, you need some vegetables. You're probably all blocked up.
Nope, I'm
He's
pretty
not.
regular.
Nope, that's not a thing.
Okay, good news on that front. Okay, so are you ready for? You
About
ready for
that
your-
time, anyway.
Oh my
Trying to find my
gosh.
ancestry one. I can't find
Well,
it.
you're locked in here, so you're not going anywhere. Are you ready for your second challenge?
Second challenge.
This is a 7-day challenge, and we're going to report back to it next week.
Careful. Okay, what is it?
Okay, so I was listening to the, the Shark Damon, whatever.
No.
Damon.
Shark Tank thing?
Yeah, what's his last name? Damon.
On Shark Tank.
Yeah.
I don't know his last name.
He has
is.
a really cool, podcast, and he's also a really great entrepreneur.
Okay.
And someone asked him the other day, what are the 3 things that successful entrepreneurs do?
Right.
And his number 1 was, the other one was kind of funny, was they write? And 2 was concentrate on how to save the most on their taxes.
Oh.
And 3 was they think globally, which I thought those were really curious and interesting things. But
Ooh, I like all those things.
the quote that he said about writing is, the dullest pencil will always remember more than the sharpest mind. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. So I thought it would be interesting if all 3 of us, for 1 week, I have a little notebook for you guys. That's just little thing to take notes on. It doesn't matter what's it about. It doesn't have to be deep. It can be whatever's on your mind. Write something down, 5 to 10 minutes for the next 7 days, and we'll reconvene and see if there's anything profound or cool that comes by it. But he said the whole goal of it was, and why these people end up being the most successful, because they've done a lot of tests and studies on this, is it's not about being a better writer. It helps you become a clearer thinker, which is really cool. I mean, I think that's super valuable. And you talk a lot about writing in the program.
Your program is a lot
of
of writing.
Of Mayhem Mindset. We're going to write because it's creative. And I have a personal section in my iPad that I call Valuable. That's what the title is, and I write in it every day. So it's
you already write every day.
Do you spell it funny, like value dash able,
or is it reason able,
or is it valuable, like money valuable?
You know what's crazy is
valuable. You get it?
Yeah, I do get it.
Values.
I do get it. That's good stuff.
You're welcome. You can use it.
That's why we're working together.
You can use that for free. Yep, that's mine now.
Staying sharp.
I just want to see what you guys are going to write about.
It's so many
T-shirt.
It's so funny how like you go back through that, and then you like, I don't even know why I wrote that. That's stupid. Or I forgot what I meant. Or ooh, I really like that. But because you're putting something there every day,
it's there at least. Yeah.
It's there. And I like the idea of writing though with a a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper. I think that's because there's a creative part to that, and you remember more than you do.
Right.
So
otherwise,
so it definitely makes you a clearer thinker. And I also, and this was like completely unrelated, listening to something else this week, and Simon Sinek was just talking about
Who's Simon Sinek?
What?
Who's Simon Sinek? Ow.
He's a business guy.
Okay, but you need to preface that because we have no idea who that is.
I do.
You do, but I
read his book.
What is his book? The
it's all about why
or something. Yeah, start with why.
Start with why. Yeah.
But he's great. I mean, he mentors to a lot of businesses and people. And
super smart guy.
Yeah, he has a long following. But he's talking about like just the different the chemicals that are like most important in our day-to-day life and drive most of what we do. And he was talking about dopamine the other day, and it's interesting because dopamine is the feeling you get when you find something you're looking for, and it's the same with writing things down. He's saying that if you see it, it's tangible, and you get a release of dopamine, so you're more likely to remember, think clear, whatever. And it made me think of in CrossFit, do you guys ever I know you do, put tallies on the board for like when you're doing like on the minute stuff? Quiz question. Do you, so say you are doing 10 rounds of something and you go up to the board to then write your tallies, do you do 9 or do you put 10 and then mark off your 10 even though you already did it?
I usually write down 10 and then after about 8 I stop. Because I don't want to take the extra time to go wipe them off.
Right.
I take the extra one. Even if I've done it, I already do it. And now I realize it's because I get the gratification of the dopamine of removing a mark off the board.
Finishing 10?
Yeah.
I just want to keep track so I don't do extra.
There's so many things that are happening physiologically, like you name it, drugs, pop, food, fitness, porn. There's a million things that are feeding that part of the brain, and we keep doing it. It's proven that a like on your Facebook page gives you that sense. Serotonin, dopamine, all that kind of stuff. For
gratification.
Sure. Yep. And that's why people keep going back to it. That's why we keep looking at that stinking phone.
Check and see where you're at.
Yeah, feels good.
Yeah.
You get that shot of dopamine.
So shifting gears a little bit too. I was in the car the other day, and it came to my mind, if you could come up with a list of 3 things you should not do in a car if you're a CrossFitter. I almost died doing this the other day. It was horrible.
Well, first thing is don't make a list while you're driving.
That would be a good one.
You've done this before too.
What? Made a list?
No. Try to take off a jacket.
I can't take off a jacket.
Because of the lack of shoulder mobility. Yeah. And all of a sudden, one arm's in the side, and then you have no arms.
Helly.
So,
drive with your knees. Learn how to drive with your knees.
At that point, I hadn't thought it through, so it was either...
You can't do that by yourself.
I'm not kidding. I bit the steering wheel. I was in full panic because both of my arms were literally now stuck behind my back, and I can't. It was too tight. I couldn't get it released.
We're going to have to edit this in the podcast and not put that out there because think about what you're saying about yourself.
I transitioned to my legs, but in full panic, I wasn't going to let go of the steering wheel.
You act surprised.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know why I'm surprised.
There was no one damaged in this process.
You lived. Nobody else died?
No, and I didn't even swerve.
Where were you at? On 40?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're at 70, 80 miles an hour.
Perfect.
No, I slowed down. I decelerated.
But you didn't have your seatbelt on.
Of course I did.
Not if you were trying to take your jacket off.
No. Oh, crap. You're right. You have to
Ellie.
unbuckle to do it. But I wear my seatbelt.
I've never tried to take a jacket off by myself. Now,
You
I
don't
will
think
admit,
it's going to be that bad.
Yeah, in the car, you just have somebody pull.
Yeah, I've had my wife pull
Yeah.
it off me before, and one hand was still. I've
I was
done
by
that,
myself.
but I know you got to pull over. You got to get out of the car. You got to take it off.
Pull over. No, it's a cardigan, but thanks for asking.
Anyway, that was what I came up with. So back to the real stuff. What's the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh, that's easy for me.
Easy?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
It started the transformation in my life. I'm bitching and moaning and complaining and blaming, and I'm in the car with my uncle, who's kind of like my dad, and he's always been good to me. He's never raised his voice, and I'm just going off. And he slams his hand down on the dash of the car, and he looks at me and he says, "When are you going to accept responsibility for your own life?" Greatest advice I ever got. First thing, clean up your room, make your freaking bed, take responsibility for your own life. And from that moment on, I stopped blaming everybody else, started paying attention to me and getting me right first. And things got better.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's legit.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
Man, I don't have one that like sticks out in my head right now. I've gotten lots of good advice. You?
Yeah, I had a friend.
You have to preface this, like you have to tell us that part before you're going to ask us like something like that.
That's
What
pretty
do you mean?
powerful. That's a big deal.
Yeah, like I need some time to think about that, not like 30 seconds
I
while
guess
Jim's
it's not
telling
fair,
his.
especially if I'm asking the question, because I thought.
Yeah,
about
you've
it.
thought about it.
Yeah.
I had like a week to think about it. Sorry, Rich. Put you on the spot.
I've only thought about that because I'm always working with people with that.
Right, and that's definitely something that you.
And nobody's ready to do work until they're. I'm not working with anybody who's like, "Hey man, look, I gotta work on myself here.
Yeah.
I gotta take care of myself first, and I gotta handle my responsibilities." And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna get started. If not, we're like, hard pass.
Hard pass.
On to the next thing.
Yeah. I had a friend in law school actually tell me. So yeah, that's crazy because it was a lot later in life that I didn't think this or really execute this, was being a pleaser by nature. There are times that, growing up and throughout my life, I would resort to a white lie because I was afraid to hurt someone's feelings, because me not acknowledging, I don't really want to hang out with them. I'm exhausted. It's been a long day. I have a lot on my plate. I would just assume tell them there's a reason so they're not feeling like I don't care, is how it was going through my head, or, trying to come up with how I could make them feel better, even though it's just my nature. So anyway, she pulled me aside one day and she goes, she heard me say like make up something, 'cause she's my roommate. And she was like, "Ellie, this is really important." And I said, "What?" She goes, "A person in life will always care and appreciate someone who's genuine." She's like, whether you are the meanest person on earth or the nicest person on earth, if you are 100% authentic and true, whether the person likes those attributes about you or not, they're going to respect you. And that's 100 times better than making up a white lie and doing this and that, because that's not what's true, what's fake.
Right.
It makes, and it resonated with me, and I carry it so far, like it's gone with me in life since then, because there's so many people that I don't have a lot in common with, but I respect them because they are 100% authentic and true, and I know exactly who they are every
Where you
single
stand
day.
and yeah, so you've talked about that before. It's like, why say, "Oh yeah, I'll get there this day"? It's be like, no, I'm not gonna. Like you talked about when you were painting.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I'll get there on Wednesday. I got this and that and this and that," and you're like, "No, I don't actually. I'm gonna get there on Wednesday. Like this is what it is."
The language I created for my life when I was going through, figuring that out. You've got the capital B, B-E, which is your values, your talents, and be powerful. And I said to myself, say what you mean and mean what you say, and then take what you get. So if I'm being mindful, I really care, man. I really honestly care, and I'm trying to be as authentic as possible. Then I got to say what I mean what I say, and take what I get. And just be authentic.
Yeah.
And the rest of that is up to the other person. At that point, if I'm doing all those things, that means I'm trying to care. I'm trying to do what's right by other people. I can't control what happens next, right? You can hate me or you can love me. I mean, I don't know. So that's a huge deal, especially for someone like you always say it, like you're kind of a people pleaser,
I just want to see people be happy, and I don't like thinking that I've been a detriment to that. But on the same token, once she, like I had that realization, the people that I have the hardest time really identifying with and communicating with are the people that tell me what I want to hear. I'm always like, I'm not interested in this. Like,
give me some truth.
Yeah, I mean,
don't have to kiss my ass all the time.
You're saying this because that's, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I lived my life that way for so long because I thought that's what people needed, and it's not. People need truth. And they respect that more, and they identify more with that because you saying, hey, I'm so sorry, I'm exhausted, it's just been a rough day. Wow, you're immediately someone that someone else can now relate to and identify with because you're a real human being, and not every single one of your days is perfect.
Right.
Which, I don't know, that was really life-changing advice for me, and it was coming from, like I said, a girl who was my roommate who we were polar opposites. Like, she was not a pleaser. She was... You talk about truth and grace,
right?
And she didn't know this side.
She didn't know any grace. It was all blam.
All truth,
right?
But I mean, she taught me one of the most valuable lessons that I've
that's
ever
cool.
learned, which is cool.
That's super good insight.
Sorry, next time I'll give you like a 7
I was trying to think of one. I mean, I have like different things in high school, like Coach Chaffin. He always had this saying, hard 90. There's 90 feet between bases, and so you're supposed to go as hard as you can, no matter what. But it was like. Not just between the bases, between the lines. It was like for your whole life. And so I've come back to that. It was like, no matter what you're doing, you go hard at it. And so, I mean, as cliche as that sounds, I guess, but that was a big one. Alley. Yeah. I'm trying to think I don't really have anything else that sticks out in my head anymore, more than that right now.
I was trying to think of like things from parents and stuff too. My dad was always big on, one of his, rest in peace, poor guy, his CEO friend who just passed away always told him, which I think it's a Maya Angelou quote now that I looked it up, was it doesn't matter what you say or what you do, it matters how you make people feel. Mm-hmm. He always used to tell me that, and he epitomizes that, just the way and how he treats others, and it's so true. I mean, I rarely remember the details of an encounter with someone, but I certainly remember how that person makes me feel, and that obviously makes me want to spend more time with them or not, or a memory from the past. I'm like, man, that person was great. Can't really tell you a whole lot about it, but they were awesome.
Right. Like for sure, everybody, we know this as a human being, everybody's going to feel. That's just a part of our design. And everybody has the right to feel. And I always say it like this, even if they're batshit crazy, they have the right to feel. Now, I didn't say their feelings were accurate.
Yeah.
And I didn't say there was anything that maybe necessarily wasn't right about how they're feeling, but they've got the right to feel. And if we don't acknowledge that when we're communicating with people, we don't acknowledge, hey, look, I understand you're feeling that way.
Right.
Then we have a hard time taking them from feeling over to thinking. And so if you just dismiss somebody's feeling immediately, well, then you've just dismissed all of who they are, and the conversation doesn't go any further. So in the end, it is important to acknowledge how people feel, and we start there because that's the first part of the brain anyways. The first part of the brain fires and starts. The big part of the brain starts with feeling. So we've got to acknowledge it, and then we've got to help people get past that, because sometimes how I feel or how they feel is maybe not where we need to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, how people feel ends up being important.
Yeah.
People come to you all the time and mayhem all the time based on your life and how it makes them feel.
Right.
And then they connect values.
Right.
But that feeling piece is important.
It's huge.
And I've seen people come up to you and say really insane, crazy things where you're like, you need to step back away from me.
Yeah.
Like the dude in Ohio, he was a nut. He was a lunatic. He really was.
A little aggressive.
He was crazy. All the way to people that come clear across the world to say, hey man, like this is how I feel about what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then they go, and this is what I think, and you get both of those things.
Right.
So it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. As far as parents go, though, I mean, my parents weren't super. They didn't like harp on us words wise, but it was always like lead by example type.
Yeah.
Like both of them just worked their freaking butt off all the time, and so I never really, I knew what to do and what was right and what was wrong. My parents were super laid back with me growing up, but most of the time I wasn't getting into trouble. And I think part of that is because they were, we were close, and, Dad would be like, I know what you're going through, but, I don't know if I've ever said my drug talk with my dad on the podcast.
No.
I don't think you did.
I mean, I'll say it anyway. He won't care.
Oh,
But
gosh.
we were just sitting in the barn one day, and he's like, well, I guess we need to have a talk. And I'm like, oh, crap. This is a birds and the bees talk. And I'm like, no, this is going to be awkward. I'm probably 15-ish maybe. And he's like, I can't tell you what you can and can't do because you're going to do it anyway. He's like, but you're pretty good at sports, pretty motivated. He's like, I wouldn't recommend smoking weed. He's like, I was pretty good at sports. I started smoking weed. Made me super lazy. Didn't want to do shit. Yeah. He's like, so I wouldn't smoke weed. And I was like, you know what? All right, I'm not going to smoke. And I've never touched it. Yeah. So I was just kind of like, and then, there's different varying opinions by people. Like, you got to be super strict with your kids and all this, but worked for me. But I mean, my sister, I think we were raised completely different. And so who knows? But they were super, super open with me. And I had a ton of freedom. But I didn't really burn those. I did some stuff I shouldn't have, but It wasn't like crazy out there. So
yeah, nothing that destroyed you, destroyed your future.
Right.
And I think it definitely, like, if that's what they did, it trickles over so much because you definitely are a lead by example.
Right. Yeah. That's why I'm not a rah get in your face type of guy. I just like, hey, let's just do this.
Then everyone.
When you look at your success as an athlete, and then in your personal life, you have like this. You have who you were. Your talents, your abilities, and then what you believed in and the environment that you lived in.
Right. Perfect storm.
It was a perfect storm. Yeah, absolutely. Your dad, the way he communicated with you was a way that you could get it.
Yeah.
He said things to you in a way that really resonated in your life.
Right.
That's proof.
Right.
I probably wouldn't do that. You didn't do it.
No.
And it wasn't necessarily because, well, smoking weed's a big sin.
Right, yeah.
It wasn't like that.
No,
it was like you wanted to be a great athlete, and you heard what he said about that, and so it resonated, and here you are 30 years later, and
still haven't touched
it's not been an important part of who you are.
Right.
I talk to athletes all the time when I was in the football world, and they'd come in and say, why shouldn't I? Hey, man, like if you're starting on this football team, you're getting great grades, you're knocking it out of the park in all those relationships, then come back and tell me you are, and then we'll talk about maybe why you should or shouldn't be smoking pot.
Right.
But until that's happening, let's not add anything in the mix here.
Right. Yeah.
Let's not
get
do
this
all
other stuff
that.
ironed out first.
Right. So every time I hear you tell those stories, you have this. You were 100% focused. You had an environment that allowed you to grow in the middle of that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's sometimes some of that stuff I think just now in your life you're really being able to articulate it as you're slowing down to look back at it and think about it, and then how do I communicate it to my children and how you want that.
Right.
But man, you were living in it. It was just in the way it worked.
Yep.
Yeah, that's incredible. Oh.
It really is crazy because there's so many people, like even athletes on the team. How they respond and the environments that they've come from. It's different.
It's different, yeah.
And it's okay that it's different.
Right.
Some people need some slogans.
Right.
You didn't need slogans.
No.
You needed to get GTSD. We talked about that the other day. Let's get some stuff done.
Yeah.
Let's go to work, And some people need to have a little more. And it's okay. They need to feel a little bit more, and what their struggle and their weakness is different. You know?
Yeah, no, and it's sometimes it's hard trying to figure out what different people need, how they need to be motivated.
Yeah.
But that comes with being on a team and learning the people that you're with.
Can we talk about empathy for a second too? I'm
not very good at it, but sure, we can talk about it.
Well,
it's so true.
It's crazy because I'm the opposite end of the spectrum. I feel like I feel like what everyone feels, and that's just I'm an overfeeler, I guess.
What do you think it means first? What is empathy?
The ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and either appreciate or understand or feel what they're thinking or going through. To empathize with someone. So if someone dies or goes through whatever, or if someone's having a bad day or stubs their toe, or
right. That's part of it. That's half of it. What's the other part?
Ability to understand and share the feelings of another is what the definition says.
Share. So the first part of empathy is you understand you. Mm-hmm. You understand you, how you feel, why you operate, why that operates in your life. Then you understand another person. Mm-hmm. And he said the word share.
Share.
When you talk about empathy and you want to kind of boil it down to, like Mayhem Mindset, it's a program that's really kind of designed at this emotional intelligence and empathy piece, learning that about yourself. First, that you got to understand you. Mm-hmm. And then once you understand you, then connecting to other people and understanding that is an important part.
Well, I've been hearing it a lot more too, as it pertains to business and the workplace and people, and like with millennials and the up and coming people, like they're trying to go back from people just doing like mundane tasks over and over and saying you actually create tribes and environments. It doesn't have to be business. It can be, business, family, friends, whatever it is, by actually caring and empathizing with others. And I feel like I think I keep hearing this over and over again. And yes, I think that's super valuable to a point, but then you also see someone like Rich, I'm not saying you are empathetic at certain things, who's wildly successful in what they're doing with their head down doing this. So I've been just really trying to find clarity in understanding what the right amount of empathy is and within these tribes and these aspects of your life, so that you're not someone like, not everyone always wants to overfeel. I'm not like, Rich, you have that look on your face. Are you okay? Like, you're like, dude, I'm fine. Like, call it, over.
What's the balance? What's the right balance?
Right. And I'm just really struggling with that because I really...
It's the ability to understand that, though. It's not necessarily the action of doing it. We're not necessarily talking about overfeeling. We're talking about you understand you, your values, your emotions, how you feel, how that operates in your world. You understand your identity. Then you have the ability to listen and pay attention to someone else, understand what their emotions are, what are their drivers. We have an identity crisis in our culture. So people don't know who they are first, and they don't know how they fit in culture. That's the problem. That's the root problem that we have right now. So there's been a whole generation of people who have been taught, hey, whatever you think is true, it's okay. We got that whole group of people, which is and then we've got a group of people that are kind of like ideological. I have the answer, and it's oversimplified. Kind of an ideologue kind of a person, and they think they've got the answer, but it's oversimplified. And then we got people who just think there's no freaking answer.
Right.
So we have a culture of those kinds of people now.
Part of that empathy piece, though, too, is like, I don't want to say not everybody's right about their own. Like, if you can't empathize with somebody, like you're saying, who doesn't have really what they're thinking or feeling figured out.
Right.
Like, if they're just irrational, and like you can be empathetic to a point, but then at some point you start becoming an enabler. Right. You're like, it's okay. Right. And you're like, there's a difference. I think there's like you're saying.
That's interesting, yeah.
Because you can't be too empathetic. I mean, if somebody's like, well, I just don't feel like working today, and you're like, you know what, I get that every day. It's like, no, like
I didn't say, I didn't say part of
that makes sense.
Empathetic doesn't mean that you validate their emotion or their actions. I started the conversation by saying, even if they're batshit crazy, I made it kind of radical. I used that word,
guano,
which people right now are going to be offended by that word.
Right.
The whole point I was trying to make was people have all kinds of crazy feelings, man.
Yeah.
What we're saying is I acknowledge your feelings. But I don't necessarily understand. I'm not saying I even understand where you're coming from. I just understand your feeling, man.
Yeah. Right.
Now let's try to be reasonable and work
I think
over
reasonable
here.
Is the empathize within reason.
Right.
I really thought it was. I appreciate all the talks about like tribe and whatever, and in business the people saying like it's not just a hierarchy of like, here's the boss, here's this person, don't care about people underneath you. They're just saying leaps and bounds of an environment. It was cool. They were talking about a business environment, saying that if you work in a place where the people care about you, you would die. Like, you would die to make them happy, and you want to work hard. And they're saying people will be paid less. They'll come to you, like, they'll do all of these things, because the difference is if you just go to work and you do what you're told to do, that's it. Where if you go to work and the people around you care, you're going to work hard to make that business a success. So how do you make someone know that you care in a work environment? You go up to a cubicle and you have a conversation. You do this instead of just a 9 to 5. And I know people have heard those things before, but I mean,
we talked about this the other day.
That resonates.
We had this conversation. Identity and meaning, right? People want to live, they want to know that they count, that there's meaning. We're on this quest for meaning. What was the story you told me the other day? I told you my very first job when I was in college was selling, this is because I'm old as dirt. It was back when
calling
MCI. I worked for MCI. And I went to a big call center every night, and there's 25 people, and auto dialer dials and you get on the phone. Hey, I'm Jim with MCI. How you doing, Mr. Johnson? We'd like to send you a $35 gift certificate, get you to switch your long distance from AT&T over to MCI. Please don't hang up on me. And you try to come up with a bunch of All right, so this is all these people in there doing this. MCI understood the supervisors. The only thing that they taught the supervisors was make those people that are working for you think that they matter. So they gave us stupid stuff like a koozie. Whoever sells the most this hour gets a free koozie. Affirm. You count. You matter. Hey, if you really do well tonight, we'll give you a $25 gift certificate, American Express card. So there's silly hats, suckers, all kinds of things that were not valuable that affirmed that we matter and we would perform. And it was crazy to watch people get super excited and, throw down for a koozie. I'm going to kick your butt.
Up, right?
7 more to go in the hour. Jim's ahead. Just Jim versus Sheila.
I was going to say, didn't he say when we asked him what he won, didn't he say a koozie?
I thought so.
I would go home and have you're so excited, right? And you got 12 freaking koozies. And you get home and you're looking out the koozies and you're like, what?
Why do I care about
What do I care about a koozie for? They pushing your buttons.
Yeah.
They made you feel like you mattered. That's a big deal. We want identity and we want meaning to be human. So when Rich Froning walks into a room, and this happened to me in my CrossFit experience, and he says to me, hey, you're doing a good job with those GHDs. Those are getting better. And he walks by. Well, that's a whole lot different than, somebody, I'm not being mad, but somebody over the gym saying, hey, Jim, your GHDs look good. When the world champion says you're getting better, shoulders go back. You're like, I'm going to do these every freaking day.
Hey, how my GHDs look. Hey, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's a big deal when you look at our children, when a father looks at his son and says, son, you're valuable.
Good job.
I love you, boy. You count. You matter. You're affirming his heart.
Right.
Your little girl, she spins in a circle and says, Daddy, do I look beautiful? And you say you do? Yep. Man, we're breathing life. So that's an innate desire in all of us. We just want to matter. Mm-hmm. We just want it to count.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes a big difference.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do with what we're headed, is we want people to have an opportunity to create an identity, to understand what is meaningful, and to make some choices and decisions connected to that value, not just how they feel.
Yeah.
Right.
But we got to acknowledge the feelings.
Got to acknowledge
Feel,
the feelings.
filter, think, flow. Hey, man, I know you're bummed out today.
Right.
But when it comes to World Championship CrossFit, and the people that you guys are doing, you don't really care how anybody feels. And at your level in CrossFit,
right.
I'm not saying there's not culture and you're not doing that, but that's why when you're going to work out, we're working out.
Yeah.
There's not really any space at that in there's no crying in football.
Yeah.
There's no crying in CrossFit or baseball, whatever it is.
They get their own.
I'm talking about levels.
Yeah.
When you're a professional and you're doing this for a living, it's we don't care about that emotion as much as we care about performance. You know, but
no one cares right now that it actually physically hurts to sit. I'm so sore.
Nobody cares.
No, nobody does care.
It hurts so bad.
And that's the part that I think is it's fun for me to stand back and watch you guys, because really when it's competition mode, really that's the case. And it's annoying for somebody to be saying something like that. And
you're like, shut up, everyone hurts.
Yeah.
Can't breathe. None of us can breathe.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a part of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Right. You're not supposed to be able to breathe.
Right.
Let's go.
Yeah, get over it.
Breathe less.
Right.
So you said he said bat poop.
Guano.
So we have to talk about it for a second. With this, we have a view of this fabulous organic garden out the window right now.
Is it organic?
Yeah. Why wouldn't it be?
Just wondering.
Why do you have any doubt?
Hey, that fertilizer that you had George spray on it, does that mean it's not organic now?
Get out of here.
You're
out of the top 5.
Huh?
He did not spray fertilizer.
Miracle Grow's not organic?
That's
you did not.
Totally organic.
You did
I thought it was.
Was I not supposed to say that?
No, you weren't.
Look me in the eyes and tell me.
I didn't do it.
That was a joke.
Oh, I was about to take the headphones off and leave. I was
She's
out
like-
of here.
So
It hasn't happened
So
yet.
we're in the barn right now. In the bedroom.
Yep.
In the barn. That's where we're podcasting from.
Yeah.
And these two windows kind of go out onto Rich's property. And
You see a race car out there.
A race car, a hockey net,
the lonesome number 3 is out there.
a burn pile.
3 for Dale.
Yeah.
Riverdale.
And then Rich actually spent multiple hundreds of dollars the other day to make Ellie happy and And
multiple hundreds.
Costs $400 those stupid plants.
That's
yeah.
a lot of hundreds.
Yeah. We better get some vegetables out of that stupid thing.
And we spent a whole afternoon not training.
It
but
blew my
planting
mind
a
when they
garden.
said how much it cost. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
But he couldn't back out.
I couldn't
He's
back
there.
out. I was just, they're like, she was like, "Oh, we'll split it." I was like, "I got it." It's like, what's it gonna be, like $100? $407.
So then he had to
The
force
world's most expensive cucumber.
he had to force everybody out.
Not to
out
mention
of the
the
gym.
diesel and carbon monoxide I put in the atmosphere to till the thing up for my John Deere tractor.
Yep. Yeah, that's
I'm so thankful.
and we're not going to eat anything. Out of it.
Nothing. Nothing's gonna make it alive.
We have a bet.
You gotta suck it out of the universe. First of all, Silver owes me $100 because we're gonna be eating tons of stuff out of the garden.
As soon as we eat something from the garden.
Would you like to preface the bet? Go ahead.
Let's preface the bet by saying last year's garden was an utter failure.
disaster.
No.
There was
we had-
nothing.
Blame Mother Nature.
No,
Talk
no,
to Jesus about it. We had like
Listen.
4 hard freezes.
There's a lot of people here
The
in
guy
Tennessee.
even
You
said-
saw
the guy even
broccoli.
said-
You saw it.
No, the problem is
Who's the guy?
the guy at the nursery.
Oh.
He was like, "Yeah, no, you should have been able to do. It was good till January."
Listen,
the
it
broccoli
didn't get
was this
watered. It
big.
didn't get weeded. There was bugs.
I was out there
rubbish.
hoeing with my freaking bare hands.
That wasn't the. How do you hoe with your bare hands?
It got ravaged
I don't
by
wanna know,
bugs.
actually.
There was like pestilence all over
Yeah.
those leaves.
We had a
Cucumber
cucumber
beetles.
beetle problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens. It's been watered for 2 days in a row now, so we'll see what happens.
Listen, you set her up for success. You have been set up.
You're set up.
It's
Okay.
been tilled
I even
perfectly.
helped plan it.
You did.
You did a great job.
Stripped it. It's like everything's in a line, not in parabolas and all this other weird
Extra
stuff.
hose has been purchased.
Parabola, nice word. And there is an additional hose.
Yeah.
Well, so you should say the bet
Only
is
thing it's missing is Miracle Grow.
Yeah.
if I ever
Something to kill the bugs.
No, we're gonna
whatever.
have. We're
Did it
gonna-
rain up here earlier?
we were done.
It's your deal.
It looked damp,
It's your deal.
but I don't know if we need to water it again.
So the bet was that there had to be like a meal come from the
Prepared,
garden.
yeah.
I will
Like it has to
prepare
have
it.
2 or 3 vegetables or fruit, since we have
Right.
watermelon and strawberries in there.
There's
They're,
like 3
they're
out there
edible.
right now.
They're edible.
It has to be like a meal that we could eat.
I ate
Right.
kale from the last
Or-
garden.
No, you didn't.
I did so. You saw me chew it.
No.
Picking one leaf off and chewing it does not
I
count
was
as eating
testing it.
kale.
It was
Yeah.
a taste test.
I'm talking you make a salad.
Right.
I'll make plenty of things from it. There's even a little herb section.
An herb section. Herb.
Who's herb?
So yeah, and if that doesn't happen, then I owe you $100. But if
Can you guys stop putting out there that it's not going to make it? You have to be positive about this.
I don't have to be.
I don't have to.
I have to be realistic
I
here.
don't. Well, so
Ellie, let me. I affirm your feelings, Ellie.
But I don't think it's going to happen.
stop it.
I want you to know I understand how happy you are right now, and I'm really
Don't
excited for that in your
it's
life.
Gonna be great.
But I'm sorry.
You're done.
I'll be really sad if it doesn't work out.
Hey, it's up to you.
I've soaked 2 pairs of shoes. The hose was squirting me in the face yesterday. I mean,
2 days in a row you've been out there watering.
yeah. Well, so here's a discussion point, by the way. Did you know? So Rich sent me some organic fertilizer the other day, probably questioning.
I didn't buy that,
I
by the
know,
way.
because this is the point of
I
the
already
question.
spent $400 on the freaking garden. That was another $135 for some organic fertilizer,
It
where I
was-
could have bought a $7
Tell
bottle
them what it is.
bottle of Miracle
Don't.
Grow.
Yes.
That's the problem with
Stop promoting.
organic farming, people.
Tell him about it.
$7 for Miracle Grow
Get off
versus
of it.
$135
Tell him the good
for
news.
bat shit.
He texts me a bag of organic bat guano, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Guano.
So so
Guano.
I'm reading about it. I'm trying to find Ace
Ace
Ventura
Ventura.
gifts to send you, and I couldn't find any.
Guano.
And then
$153.
so it's
Wow.
fine. It's fine. So he follows up with, I was gonna order it, but I don't know if it's legal. And I was like,
I meant on like organic scale.
no, it's actually
Oh, it's illegal?
Oh,
But you can buy it on Amazon?
So no, here's the deal. So apparently you read the details and it's like, this is the best organic fertilizer since sliced bread. It doesn't
Right.
say sliced bread. but
I meant, is it legal
no.
organic?
So you got me all stressed out. So I'm reading about it. Well, starting in 2010, bat caves have been becoming whatever.
They're endangered.
So now in some states it's not
Bastards.
legal.
Oh.
So you were actually right and you didn't know it. Some states it's not legal.
To
However,
collect the bat poo.
No, to use organic. And how would people know? I don't know.
I don't
but
know.
it's fine. It's ethical. Whatever. So I need to. If it'll.
What I'm hoping is that we've talked about this on the podcast, and you're going to get a lot of advice from
Yep,
people who
hopefully.
really know what they're doing
I'm
out
actually
there to
on
help
Instagram
you.
already getting good advice.
Okay, good.
Apparently, we weren't supposed to put cucumbers by squash.
Oh, see,
Who knows
there's
that?
all kinds of rules that have been broken.
What are they-
See,
All I knew is they had to be on mountains.
all I know is I'm going to be at the end of this deal getting a great meal for free because this is not working.
I love the world's most bitter squash.
We're already planting squash next to cucumbers, and that is
You're gonna have a spectacular
it's a deal
meal.
breaker.
We're gonna be grilling out over here using your own oregano. Since you guys stink so bad, we'll stuff lavender in your shoes. You're welcome.
We'll see.
Not gonna happen.
We'll see.
Rich doesn't like cilantro. We were gonna use
Ugh,
cilantro.
I hate cilantro.
Elliot-
I actually tell places that I'm allergic to it, so they don't put it on my food. I
He
hate. I don't know
shakes
why.
like a
I don't
girl.
like
He
it.
goes, "Ugh."
What do you hate in food? Like I can't do onions.
Really? I like
that-
cooked onions.
Oh,
Well, I
you don't
like
like cooked
onions.
onions?
They weird me out.
I don't like slimy
The
stuff.
texture. I can't do it.
Eggplant's too slimy, I think.
I don't mind eggplant, oysters. What do I
It's a
not like?
texture thing. Cilantro,
I hate.
asparagus.
Why do you hate cilantro?
I don't like. I just don't like the taste is awful to me,
Okay.
and I hate asparagus. I don't like it.
One day when you
Asparagus.
walk into
Eh.
the gym, I'm gonna grab a bushel of cilantro and throw it
A bushel.
and see what happens. Think
Wow.
you'll die?
I'll die. I'm allergic.
You'll
kill me.
You'll be
Yeah.
a murderer.
I don't like asparagus at all. I don't like anything that grows
But
in a ditch.
that's got that cellular. It makes you itch.
No,
No,
it grows
a
in
ditch.
a ditch.
It grows in a ditch.
You look on the side of the road. There's asparagus right there.
Oh, who cares? It's edible.
No,
No, it's not.
I don't like asparagus at all.
But so this
I've
is
tried. I don't
It's
like
not
it.
organic.
Asparagus is.
No, they spray the ditches around here with stuff.
Well, I'm not
I don't
picking
think
it
it
off
really
by
grows
for
in a
mountains.
ditch, but I just made that up. It looks like it grows
Sounds
in a
good.
ditch.
I don't know. We could have bought it, but you said
Tastes
no.
like it grew in a ditch.
It's gross.
Anyway, that has that cellulose fiber that moves stuff along in your gut, which is
Something's
good for
moving
you.
in my gut from this.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Our biomes are solid right
I'm
now.
almost. We're gonna have to go.
You are not.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
gonna throw
gosh.
Ellie, I want you to know I believe in you in every aspect of your life other than gardening. I don't
I
believe
have to
in you.
back you on that one as well.
I don't believe.
You're $400 in. You should be backing
No
me.
joke.
He already laid it on the line. We're talking about sacrifice here.
Sacrifice.
He stepped
That's a
up.
good friend.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, this will cost $100.
Did you see how happy she was the whole time?
I'm
Like,
still
ecstatic.
happy. I was
I was like $100 tops.
Yeah.
$400? What?
Wow.
Why do we have to get the organic stuff anyway?
$400.
I think half of that was not organic,
Yeah,
by the way.
what are you talking about?
Some of it didn't
dollars.
say
No,
organic.
That's not true.
$400.
Some of it-
I
I
thought
remember
it was in the organic section.
I think
Oh,
you were
was
just in
it?
the vegetable section because some of it did say organic, but then there were some that did not say organic.
So what you're trying to tell me is you want to uproot
So
all
what
that
I'm
and
saying
start
is we can
over?
put Miracle Grow on it.
No, you can't.
I'll just
It'll
put it on
work.
the non-organic. How will you
Oh,
know?
no.
You will never know.
I
know
told you I
anything.
can
You'll
tell
know
the
because
difference.
stuff will grow.
I
Right.
know the difference between organic and a non-organic vegetable.
How do you tell?
Bananas-
What are the characteristics
We
of
don't
it?
have bananas.
But if you go to the grocery store and the bananas are all the same size, that's not normal.
Here we go. Right? Am I right?
We don't have bananas.
So how are you gonna know?
Wow.
Because it's uniformity and the shapes and the colors on the inside and the shiny texture on the outside.
Yeah, she don't know.
I
She
do
ain't got-
know.
she didn't know.
And I'm bringing in the specialist, you big turds.
A specialist.
All right. I think you got time for one question in there.
One?
Actually,
One
we filled
question.
a lot of the time.
I need to go
For the
tend to the
love.
garden. Sorry.
Yeah, you do?
I
You
do.
got to water it. You haven't watered it today.
We ordered it this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, so we're gonna try. Have you ever heard about grounding? Shut up.
Grounding, like you're talking about when it
Like
comes to
you're in
like
trouble?
electricity?
Oh,
Or yeah, you get in
Yeah,
trouble?
finishing the circuit. So when you get struck by lightning, you live. No.
Yeah.
I'm talking about my uncle Ben does this. So every morning you're supposed to go outside
Oh.
barefoot and you watch. I don't know if you don't stare at the sun, but you watch the sunrise with your feet on the earth, and it's like really good for you.
sounds
I
too
don't know
hippie
how
for
it
me.
works. So
Yeah.
Rich needs to go be grounded by the garden tomorrow.
I don't want Rich to do that.
Thanks, Jim.
Good
Thanks for
job,
caring about my
culture
feelings.
coach.
Yes.
I'm
No.
gonna. Well,
If Rich is doing that, I quit.
I'm gonna
out.
be here at sunrise every day, grounding by the garden.
Naked.
No,
Just-
you won't.
Naked. Oh my gosh!
No,
could
you won't.
Imagine?
No.
Nope, no, you won't.
Not
I
happening.
can just tell you right now.
One, I'm not gonna be up at sunrise
Right.
unless I have to.
Two,
I'm doing it tomorrow.
Hillary will be like, no way.
No way.
That is not happening.
I'm doing it tomorrow.
All right, what do you got?
This isn't even a real question. Do you prefer exercising? Oh, no. I read it wrong. Sorry. Actually, it is a good question. Do you prefer exercising your mind or your body? How frequently do you do either?
I don't have. My
do
mind
that
never
daily.
gets exercised.
That's not true. We daily.
I know.
Both.
It's a regular.
That's just a part of our lives.
All right, last one. I think we're about in an hour.
Okay. Of all the tools and gadgets you own, which one do you most enjoy using? You're dudes. I figure that's a good question for you.
Ooh.
I finally figured out my truck has Apple CarPlay.
Oh, that is
And that's
really
been
cool.
pretty freaking handy because it keeps me less distracted.
You talk
And it's
to
like
it.
and
It
it's like
talks
having
back.
a little personal assistant. It's kind of cool.
Do you have it on like pirate sound? So it's like good day.
No, I have it on.
Is it
Good
the
day.
pirate
Good day. All right. That was
Good
not.
day.
Never mind. I'm not gonna say.
Army matey.
Yeah. So right now, that's my favorite. Right now is CarPlay, Apple CarPlay.
Oh man, gadgets.
Your earbuds. You like your
Yeah,
Oh,
those
yeah.
are really cool. Those new AirPods.
AirPods. That's
Those
what it
have
is.
really been cool. You know what though? So I was going into the coffee shop, going into Poet's coffee shop, and they had a bottle opener. And every time we want to open a bottle at the house, we don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
And they had one. And it's this face of this bear
Oh,
snarling.
that's pretty cool.
And I took it home. I bought it, put it on the wall, and I don't really drink any beer. I don't really do any of that, so I haven't had a chance to use it. And the other day, I got so jazzed because we needed
Cinco de Mayo. Oh.
No, this has been weeks ago, but man,
Yeah.
that thing's been right there on the wall. I've been waiting, and I had to open a bottle, and it popped that thing open, and such a sense of satisfaction.
That's really cool.
Bear.
Wow.
Is this your new gadget favorite?
It is. I have a magic notebook that all the words inside erase when you put a warm cup of water on it and you put it in the microwave. Whoa.
And you can. What was cool is it has a QR code.
That
you
is
can
really cool, actually.
What's the
load it
QR
up to your
code
phone.
do?
Didn't you say it loaded it to your phone?
Yeah, I didn't know that's why it was there, though.
I thought that's what you
I
said
thought
it
we were
was for.
talking
you,
about that.
You press the button and it sends it to like your drive or your email or
Oh,
your.
well, that's what I thought you meant.
Yeah, but that's probably
You
valuable
can
too.
get a scanner, a QR scanner, and scan that thing, and probably whatever's there.
You should look into that for.
Holy
Mindset.
mackerel.
That's what we did in the other book. We had QR codes on it.
But
yeah.
I'm saying where you can write.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
That's a really good idea.
Woo! Look at that!
Holy crap, that's a really
Whoa,
good idea.
I think I just.
All right, well, that's the end. And you have no idea what we're talking about.
Yep.
But that's for Mayhem Mindset
Yay.
coming out soon. CrossFitMayhem.com, FroningandFriends.com.
Check
New
out the new
regional
shirt.
shirts. Jim's wearing the black one. I'm wearing the white
Oh,
one.
I meant to wear that today. It's
And
in my
Ellie
for
bag.
screwed it up.
You blew
leave us
it.
comments
Absolutely.
on
Questions.
iTunes.
Concerns.
Questions and stuff on
if you
YouTube.
want the kombucha parfait recipe, you just comment. We'll give it your
Reviews
way.
on iTunes. Let us know if we suck or if it's good. If you're getting anything out of it. If we should quit altogether. let us know.
Okay.
Peace.